It's coming up to 10:15 on a Thursday night, and I am driving along the infamous M25 motorway, heading into South London in search of an animal that probably most people would not expect to find in an urban area. But it's winter, it's cold, the thermometer on the car is saying it's -1. So animals are heading out of their more natural habitats into places where there's a plentiful supply of food. And in urban areas, it's usually a bit warmer. There's not as much competition, so there is more food and it lasts a lot longer. So here we're going to head in, see what we can find, and just maybe we'll get lucky. An animal that you would never expect to find in an urban housing estate, and as everyone kind of goes to bed, this is what you can expect to see. There's a herd of about 20 or 30 fallow deer. I'm just going to drive past really slowly. Look at them. And they come out of the forest at this time of year. They come out of the forest at this time of year because there's not much food in there. Yet here, there's plenty of grass, no competition, and plenty of food for them. Quite a surreal sight. An animal that is kind of synonymous with woodlands and where I'd usually expect to see it. Not in the middle of a housing estate in South London. Fallow deer have 4 main coat variations. You've got these kind of tan fawn ones, they're your typical Bambi-esque deer. Then you've got one called Menil, which is a bit paler but still with the spots. And then there's a few Menils in here, but the majority of them are melanistic, which means they're completely dark. And then sometimes you do have the completely white ones, not albino, but just a completely white coat. And judging by the looks of this, the herd's mainly made up of females and young males. Young males just have these tiny little horns on the top, and males and females are very similar in size, just below a metre at the shoulder. But they'll graze like this and then hopefully move further into the more urban surrounds. Here we're right on the edge. The problem with being on a housing estate is finding a place to park. I've just seen another really big 20 or so deer. It's just nuts that you've got this. I'm driving down a residential street and there's a herd of deer just behind these houses. So as soon as I find a suitable place to park without blocking the whole road, I see one. I'll try. Oh, right. Let's try get some more shots. The whole herd is literally just around this van. Just gonna try. And they've all gone. It's like a game of hide and seek. They're fine with cars. They're absolutely fine with cars, but with people on foot, maybe dog walkers, it's fine, but as soon as you stop, they know something's not right. Shy creatures. who knows which way they went. Almost every available green space has deer on. I have no idea what the population must be, but I can see one there, and then there's 2, 3, 4. I mean, these herds, this will be the local population coming out of the woods. Here's some right next to the road here, just on the edge. It's almost like they stick to the shadows. It's like being on safari almost. I do wonder how many people sleeping in their beds realise that just outside their house they've got them. And actually here there's a big boy with his antlers, and they're the only deer in the UK to have, they call them palmate, almost like gloves at the end. So instead of having individual points at the end of the antlers, they kind of go into almost a spade with small points coming off that. And over the years, they lose them like deer do any day now really. The rut is usually October, November. But then they'll lose their antlers. But every year their antlers will get bigger and bigger until when they're 7 years old, they don't really get much bigger after that. I wonder if we pull up and find a suitable place. I'll just reverse around this corner and wait for them to come out. Got a trio of bucks, big males of antlers crossing the road, and a few does with them too. Oh. The bonus at this time of year, there'll be grit on the roads, salt grit on the roads. And mammals like this, they need salt in their diet, so they'll move onto the roads to lick it. Looks like there's a load more coming through now, so at least 2 more boys. Usually when you're driving through the British countryside, you come across these signs, triangular signs with a deer on it, warning that deer could jump in front of your car at any point. When you're in South London, you probably don't expect to see those signs, but over there, you've got a warning deer crossing sign, because as we've seen tonight, there are plenty of deer around here. As the last deer runs across in front of my car, it's time for me to head home. But what has amazed me tonight is the sheer number of deer in this housing estate. By day it probably is a very boring and average housing estate, but by night it's completely transformed by the presence of these animals, transformed into its very own wildlife park.